JJ back from another Braw Cast episode. The Braw Cast is a podcast where we talk to individuals all over the world. We've spoken to athletes, motorcycle racers, musicians, magicians, comedians, and everybody else in between. And tonight we have a special guest who I'm proud to have on the show. I'm a big fan of him. He is country rock artist Mr. Cory Marks. Welcome to the show, Cory.
JJ, how are you, man? Thanks for having me.
I'm very good, thank you, man. I really do appreciate you coming on the show. I know you have a tight schedule. You've been on the road. You've got back-to-back meetings. You're working on new music. I've seen all this from your Instagram, man. It's incredible. So what's been happening recently?
Man, there's been so much going on between, like you said, I just got off a cross Canada tour. We did 32 shows from coast to coast, from west to east. 32 shows in 41 days. Then came back home for just under a week and headed off to Nashville for 2 weeks to just shoot some content, get some writing done. Recorded with a very special someone for a new song, a new feature. So lots happening. We're working on a U.S. tour as well, and just trying to get this new music out there and keep building the fan base and keep building strong so we can make our way over to Scotland eventually and just make some noise over there for you guys. It's been busy, it's been fun, a lot of ups, a lot of downs, but I guess that's just the way of life in the music business. But
Yeah,
things have been rolling.
good, man. Glad to hear it. And you do have a fan base over here in Scotland and the UK. That's what I'm hoping to do with this episode as well, is share your music with, or share you with our fan base, and get some more ears and eyeballs on you. Because it'd be great to see you in Scotland, man. You've got some
It
good venues over here.
it would be amazing. I would be this it's part of my part of my heritage and my last name. I come from an Irish and Scottish background as well. So to be able to head over there, my brother played hockey over there as well. So
Oh
to
yeah.
get to see those those parts of the world and a bit of my history too, has always been a dream of mine since I was a kid, even before this whole music thing, was just to check out the other parts of the world, and for me the parts unknown, but I know it's a great time, and I know I can find a few whiskey and beer drinkers over there too, so I won't be alone.
Oh yeah, man. We've got a really good local distillery here, Glenkinchie Distillery. I get my whiskey from there all the time. It's yeah. If you ever do make it over here, man, I'll give you a tour. It is class.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. So talking about your heritage and stuff, we're going to talk about your early influences on your music. Can you tell us a little bit about your earliest musical influences? Who did you listen to growing up, and how that kind of shaped your style?
Oh man, it's really it's crazy. I mean, I grew up both on my mom's side was a lot more country. My dad loved it too, like the Merle Haggards and Waylon Jennings.
Mhm.
My mom as well. But it's crazy. Like growing up, I remember my parents listening to the AM country station. And you're going back to the 60s and 70s and even the earlier days, like the Carter family and Jimmy Rogers. And they could name you the artist, they can name you the song, and that always just amazed me. And I think growing up on that stuff really kind of it's in my blood. That real country music, from the good days. But also on my dad's side, growing up in Toronto, the home of Rush, and he was a drummer as well, which influenced me to become a drummer. And once I got into that, there was anywhere from Rush, Grand Funk Railroad, Deep Purple, then even into Bryan Adams, of course. But in my teens, got into Dream Theater, Lamb of God, Pantera. But I
Nice.
also, I had this huge passion for both genres, actually, well, all genres of music. So that's really where I discovered my sound was, a little Merle Haggard, a little Bryan Adams, a little Eric Church, a little Pantera, kind of all mash it in together. And that's what I grew up on and still listen to today.
That's incredible, man. It's incredible because you can hear those influences come through in your music. I've always been a metal fan, a punk fan, and it was only in the last maybe 4 or 5 years my sister got me into country music and took
Right.
me to some country shows, and then I got an appreciation for country music. Obviously, I knew of Johnny Cash, and I was aware of those guys, but more modern country, I wasn't really aware of it until my sister took me along, and
Right.
I was, he came up on Spotify a couple of years ago. I was like, who is this guy? It was Outlaws and Outsiders, and I'm a big Five Finger Death Punch fan. And obviously, Ivan Moody was on that song, and I
Yeah.
was I was making orders up in the lab, and I recognized Ivan's voice on the song. So I ran
Mm.
over to Spotify, checked it out, and followed you instantly, man.
Well, thank
And
you very
it's,
much.
nah, it's your music's great, and like I was saying, you've collaborated with some good artists. You got Mick Mars in there. You got Travis Tritt, obviously Ivan Moody,
Hmm.
and like working with those guys. What's that experience been like for you?
It's certainly inspirational. These are all guys that shifted shifted what was happening in those times. Travis Tritt definitely had that Southern rock influence
Mhm.
from Waylon and Leonard Skinner, and it was country, but with a little more attitude and a little more soul.
Yeah.
And obviously that's something that I've been doing since I started back in 2011, 2012. I've always admired that. So that he's a huge inspiration. But
Mhm.
you don't even have to talk about what Motley Crue did. Just got to say the name, and you kind of have an idea, especially with after the movie The Dirt.
Mhm.
They kind of give you the whole intel on that. But then you have Five Finger Death Punch. I mean, arguably the biggest hard rock band in the world right now, and they just been doing their own thing, their own way, for a long time. And I think I take pride in that. I admire that. I think it's really important to not just be pigeonholed or get stuck in this box of conform to what the industry, what the labels, what even at times what your manager thinks is going to work because everyone else is doing it. I didn't get into this to be like everyone else. I wanted
Yeah.
to get into this to be like my heroes, like the Travis Tritts, Mick Mars and Motley Crue, Ivan Moody, Brian
Mhm.
Adams, Merle Haggard, of course. So, I'm just trying to, if you will, pave my own road, make my own lane, and just pray to God that, the fans love it, and obviously eventually turn the tides, and the industry and those folks are going to see it too, and hopefully they love it as well. And that's my goal, is just do my own thing and hopefully make a lot of people happy, and create a sound and music that a lot of people are going to love.
Yeah, man, I can appreciate that because all the artists you mentioned there, they have carved their own path. You know, Motley Crue, Five Finger Death Punch,
Mhm.
Travis Tritt, and you're doing the same thing. And that's one thing we can live by in this brand as well as carving our own path. We were the first beard care brand in Scotland. We do it our own way, just having fun. We'd like
Yeah,
to get that over on the social media. You're doing the same thing, which is the way to be, I think. You know, just break the mold and do your own thing, and it comes
100%.
across. Yeah.
100%. And I mean, I think the most part, the biggest part for me is, yeah, it turns into a business, but
Mm.
it's still got to be fun and you still got to love it. So don't let anybody or anyone, take the love away from what you believe in, and what is good and great, and you love doing. And as hard as it is sometimes, I have those days too. I have many more of those days than the ups, but you just got to keep punching and keep rolling. When a door closes, another one opens. And if it doesn't open, you kick it open and see what happens.
100%, man. Yeah, I live by that as well. I believe in that fully. So, speaking about that, challenges, can you talk about some of the biggest challenges you've faced in your music career? And then on the flip side, some of the biggest achievements you've had?
Well, I think, first of all, I think Outlaws and Outsiders is definitely a perfect example of that. I mean, it was, by Billboard, like, a song that couldn't be, it couldn't, the world didn't really know what to do with it, but it still became a
Mhm.
top 10 hit at US Rock Radio, which makes me the first Canadian country act to have a top 10 single at US Rock Radio, and number three in Germany. So that, I
Very
mean,
good.
that was special. And I mean, that song is still growing today.
Mhm.
Excuse me. So, that was a perfect example of doing something different and doing something your own way that obviously people connected with. I think because it was from the heart, even though it's not a slow song or heartbreak song. It's more like get in there and get it done, and believe in it, and just be you. And I think that's very, very important. Um, so I still especially here in Canada, because I'm not a country pop artist or kind of fitting in the mold, where I find, and there's a lot of great artists. There's incredible artists out there, but my problem is that there's just too much that sound the same, and I just feel like there should be a little, a little, some different lanes, a little bit of different sound, and it's just really repetitive. And some artists, I feel they get stuck, like they have to do that in order to survive. They have to do that, and
Yeah.
I just don't believe in that. I think our job as artists is to create art, and that's our art and our sound. And again, just hopefully people love it. So I've struggled with that, on the touring front, of course, the radio front, especially here in Canada, where it's a little too rock, or
Mhm.
a little, whatever. Sometimes I feel like it's just excuses, and that's okay too. But it lights the flame, and only throws fuel on my fire to work harder and to be better. So that's kind of, you take those downs and turn them into ups. I think and I got to take my own advice on that too, because obviously I have some hard days when you feel like especially if you, for example, when you record a song that's straight up country, like for example, the new
Mm.
single, A Different Kind of Year, that is country music for country people and country radio.
Yep.
But there's always the gatekeepers, not all of them. There's been some really sweet ones. There's the gatekeepers that will find any excuse not to play it, not the right time,
Yeah.
underproduced, doesn't really fit our station, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it's heartbreaking because, you put your heart and soul and time, everything into that. And it just takes one person to go, yeah, no, sorry. And it's like, they probably didn't even listen to it. So they just look at the
Yeah.
name sometimes and it's like, but I hope that changes, and either way, I'll just keep on going and keep releasing music, and it's a roller coaster, that's for sure. But I mean, that's life. So you kind of just gotta roll with it, and like I said, take the good with the bad and the bad with the good, and make the best of it.
That's it, man. You just keep pushing on, keep the momentum rolling, and
Hmm.
as you say, it opens doors. Some doors close, but other doors open. And one thing I've noticed with you, you share, like myself, you share your gym workouts on social media. You're in the
Hmm.
gym often, and
Yeah.
one of the things I find with the gym is it clears my head. There's so much negativity going on because you're consuming so much information from people's opinions or social media or whatever. But I find in the gym, it gets the endorphins flowing and it cancels out the noise. It makes me more
It
creative.
does.
Do you feel the same
It
thing?
does. Oh yeah, actually, just for example, I haven't done actual squats in well over a year and a half.
Mm,
I do like jump squats and Bozu ball squats and super squat on the machine. It's just easier on my back, I guess, through
yeah,
hockey and all the scrapping in my younger days. My back's always been messed up, unfortunately. So, I'm trying to find ways to still stay in shape and stay strong, but maybe not do some of those heavy
mm,
lifting that I used to do. There's no use in me in putting 3, 4 plates on a squat bar and pushing it,
yeah,
you know. But just the other day, I did squats. I thought, you know what, I'm going to try to, see what I can get. I definitely wasn't at any heavy weight at all, but enough to do it. And I felt like it was almost immediate by the second round. It's like, man, all those negative thoughts, all those like what ifs and negative kind of feelings turned into like, all right, what else can I do? Hey, here's what I can do today. You know what? This would be a great idea. Hey, let me post it. It's just like
yeah,
instant. And so, I think it's really important, not only for your the physicality and your shape and your body, but it's great for your mind and your soul too. And
yeah,
I think it's
100%.
important. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, I agree with that. That's like the video I done with your music, Devil's Grin. It was Devil's Grin we
Yeah.
done with the
Yeah.
guy punching the windscreen. Yeah, that was it, man. I was in the gym in the morning and I was doing my workout and stuff, and as I say, you get a bit creative, and I was like, like Devil's Grin came on, and I remember that
Yeah.
clip, and I was like, that tempo actually works. And I was like, right, I'm shooting this as soon as I get back, so that's what we
And
done.
thank you for doing that. I
No,
honestly think some of my streams on Spotify spiked because of it.
yeah,
And I must have watched it 20 sometimes. I thought, as if this is too good, man. This is really funny. So I mean, I appreciate that. And whenever you come up with those ideas, please, man, tag me and get them out there because I love that
no
stuff. It means
worries,
the
man.
world
So,
to me.
someone did say it should be the official video, so if you do make it, or when you make it to Scotland, we will make a B-roll official video for it.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes, sir.
That's the thing, man. So we're talking about that. So how important is fan interaction in your career? Like, is there any memorable interactions you've had with fans?
Well, it's very important because you know that really there, in a way, there's nothing in it for them but to meet or talk to someone they admire, whether it's their music or their show that they saw, or and they love us and appreciate us for what we do
Mm,
and what we're saying and what we're singing about. It's not someone behind the desk where you're trying to like, man, this is a great song, please take it. And you know that they got other things going that for the most part they don't care, So the fans for me is everything because, like us, we put our heart and soul into what we do.
mm,
You guys are going out there buying tickets. You guys are out there streaming and sharing and buying the music. So to me, and I probably speak for the majority of artists, I mean, you are the key to, not to sound too cliche, key to our heart, if you will. The
mm.
reason why we do this, because whether it's a 200 person room or a 2,000 person room, you guys are here to see me, my crew, and hear my songs and sing with me and share those emotions, whether they're good, bad, ugly, or you know, whiskey drinking, or you just broke up with somebody and your heart's broke. You know, I've been to concerts. I'm not even afraid to admit it. I've been to 3 Bryan Adams concerts now in about the last 14, 15 months.
Hmm.
And as soon as he
Yeah,
steps on stage, man, I can't help it, man. It's just this
yeah,
emotion. He usually starts with "Can't Stop This Thing We Started," and
yeah,
it's
yeah,
instant. You know, even
yeah,
my fiance now is like, "Are you okay?" It's like, "Oh, I'm great. This is amazing." You know, and that to me is when I feel that when I see these artists that I admire and that I love, I pray that the people in the audience at my shows feel that way, the same way that
hmm.
I feel about Bryan Adams or Rush, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
or anyone when you see them, or Eric Church, for example. So I think, you know, it's our job to give you that feeling, and we hope, you know, that you give it back in return.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, definitely. Artists like yourself and musicians, they do change people's life without the artist actually knowing. You know, there's always memories there or reflections back on other times of their life where that music was played. So,
Yeah, man.
you know, it's an emotional thing. It's an emotional art, you know?
I mean, it's just like, you know, you look at, you know, Seven, Springsteen by Eric Church, you know, funny how a
Hmm.
melody sounds like a memory, you know,
Yeah,
I could hear parts of songs and literally like I could meet someone and that's just who I am and how I am. It's nothing personal. It's just, I'm hard on myself about it. I can meet you and be like, "Hey, how you doing, Chris?" And then say something and then go over and be like, uh, "Jacob, no, wait, you know, I just can't remember." But it's funny how a song or a
hmm.
moment in a song can literally go trigger you and you're back in 1996, or you're back on the
Yeah,
school bus, or you're back to that, remember her saying goodbye, or you're
yeah,
back to the time with the boys are like we're getting rowdy, you know.
yeah.
So it's crazy and very cool. I find how music, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, 100%. I realize time is kicking on, so we'll start to wrap up just now, man. But
I'm probably talking too much.
no, not at all, man. Not at all. That's what you're here for. That's what you're here for. Um, you mentioned at the start we've been working on, or you've been working on new projects. Is there anything you can share with us? I mean, know we've been in Nashville. I don't want any,
Yeah.
don't give anything away, but is there anything you can
Oh,
let us
I'll give
build
it
up
all
some
away,
hype?
man. I'll give it all away. It's a project that I honestly believe there's nothing out there quite like it. Just like the first record, where there's, you know, there's stuff like My Whiskey or Wine, which is right up that Vince Gill, Merle Haggard type, you
Okay.
know, real country. But there's other stuff like Keep Doing What I Do, which have a little rock, some metal screams.
Yeah.
Um, you know, this is probably yeah, definitely on the heavier side. The rock stuff is pretty heavy. I mean,
Okay.
there's even some Lamb of God type breakdown stuff in there mixed
Nice.
in with. So it's really everything from, again, Haggard, Eric Church, Ozzy, to Pantera, all mixed
Amazing.
into one. I have 22 new tracks that are in the vault right now that I can't wait for the label to make a plan with me so we can get this music out for the world to hear, because I'm just really excited. It's a project that started back in 2021
Right.
with my dear friend and producer Kevin Churko. There's several songs that have been in the vault now for, you know, 2.5 years, and there's a couple songs on there with the producer Kyle Odell. I wrote with him and the Four Horsemen that are on the rock side.
All right.
One song called "Guilty," which I have a very special guest featured on it already, and another called "Hangman." So obviously those are kind of leaning on the rock side.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I have 13 brand new tracks, which also include some very special features with a producer called Andrew Bayless out of Nashville, and he produces Jelly Roll and
Nice.
you know, Brantley Gilbert. So it's everything and in between. It's a project that I just, again, can't wait for the world to hear.
Amazing, man. That sounds incredible. I'm excited to hear it.
Me
Is it?
too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, do you like a final kind of thing? Do you have any advice for any aspiring artists? Like, what advice would you give anybody trying to get into the music industry?
Um, Honestly, I just say, again, I'm giving my own advice here to myself.
Hmm.
Uh, Try to be as patient as you can. Always keep working. Um, you know, again, like, take the negative and turn it into a positive, whether that's a song or whether it drives you to be like, you know, fuck it, I'm gonna do this then. You know, just and don't be afraid. Like, I think Gary Vee talks about this. Like, don't be afraid to to ask. You know,
Hmm.
hey man, you want to feature on my song? Hey, what do you think of this? They don't answer you, then whatever.
Yeah,
You know, it
yeah,
is what it is. Wasn't meant to be. I think one of the biggest things that I've learned is, it's funny. It's been a winding road for me, but it's like everything always kind of popped into place. You
Hmm.
know, even now I've been, go insane on some days. Like, what the hell is going on over there? Like, why aren't we releasing this? Yet. But I think it's just patience because they want to make a perfect plan. And in music, there really isn't a perfect plan. It either hits or it doesn't. Some people have spent months, years to put out this record or project, and it doesn't really do anything or anywhere close to what they thought it'd be. So I think the importance is in the music and in the fans. And if you have something you truly believe in and that you're really working hard on, and you know that's got something special, don't let anybody else tell you it ain't, because it'll land where it's supposed to.
Yeah,
That could take 5 days, that could take 5 months, that could take 5 years. In my case, that could take 12 years. So just keep pushing, and again, just stay as grounded as you can, but also, don't be afraid to turn it up a little bit. And if you got to carry a chip on your shoulder, then try to carry it in the most positive way possible, and create your art with it, and just connect with the right people, and just keep pushing, keep singing, keep playing, and keep getting out there. Don't stop.
incredible advice. Yeah, that's amazing. I resonate with that so much. That I hand out advice quite a lot, and then you just taking your own advice, but hearing it come from you as well, it makes so much sense. It's just breaking out the mold, getting out your own way, like carving
Yeah,
your own path, and yeah,
that's it.
cracking on.
And I thank you, JJ, and Braw Beard, and for asking me. I'm sorry it took so long to get on, but I'm glad we made this happen. And
Yeah.
like when you ask me these questions, sometimes it's a reflection upon myself too. So it's the advice when you ask me, well, what would you tell somebody?
Hmm.
I know that when I'm saying it, it's kind of like, I'm looking in the mirror here because I
Yeah,
need to
yeah.
hear it too. We all do.
You'd
So
all,
it's
yep, we all do.
is that
Amazing.
fireworks going on behind me?
I think
I
it
gotta
is.
check.
Was it
That's
some filler?
yeah, there's a
Nice.
party going on here. It's not Friday yet. But yeah, no, it's very special, and I can't thank you enough for loving and sharing my music, but then bring me into your world to be on this podcast, and hopefully get my ass over to Scotland soon.
Hopefully, man, I appreciate it. Listen, before you go, is there like where can people find you? Well, obviously, but I want to get eyeballs on you and
Yes.
ears on your music. So where can people find you online?
Well, if you're on Spotify or Amazon, please follow me. Go download everything. Check out the music. Share the hell out of it for me. My biggest, platforms are Instagram at Cory Marks Music, but that's also the same for TikTok. Threads, Facebook is at Cory Marks Music. So click the follow button. Shoot me a message. I always write back, as you know. You and I have been chatting for a while now,
Yep,
and please just continue sharing the music, and go download, stream everything at Cory Marks Music. Follow me. And yeah, man, keep in touch.
Corey, I really appreciate your time, my man. Thank you very much. And with that said, we're going to wrap up the broadcast. Let Corey get back to his meetings and his busy schedule. He's got a busy schedule ahead. I know that. So
I
yeah,
also want to I also want to add too.
yeah,
Just minutes before this podcast, um, I added some new merch to the website. There's going to be more, but for now, there's new hats, there's new toques, there's CDs, vinyls, which I sign and ship personally.
perfect.
So make sure you send me your address. I'll get one out to you too.
Thanks,
And
man.
it's up on the site right now, corymarks.com, and of course all the other info from tours to announcements to new music and to merch. Of course, it's all there on corymarks.com. So check it out.
Legend. Thank you, Corey. Really appreciate your time.
Thank
With
you.
that said, we're going to wrap the broadcast and we'll see you next time. Have a good one.
All right, brother. Thank you.
So that was the broadcast for this week. Thank you very much to Cory Marks for jumping on. I know he has a busy schedule, like we said, so he only jumped in for half an hour there, but that was perfect. We got a lot from him there, and definitely go check out his music. As I said, I've only recently become a fan of his music, and it's on almost daily in the lab on Spotify. So yeah, go check out Cory. The next broadcast episode will be with either myself or Billy, or maybe the two of us. We're going to have a meeting next week, and yeah, plot out a schedule. Like I said, we're getting back to a regular schedule now, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. We've got a lot of shows lined up, a lot of shows planned. We just need to get them booked in, and we're good to go. So, with that said, I will let you go. I really appreciate you jumping in, tuning in. Share this show. If you have any country music fans or any rock music fans, share this with them. Obviously, we want to help Cory spread his wings over here, as it were. That's the thing. Cory is a big aviation fan. He's a pilot. He's a private pilot as well. We didn't get onto that because I wanted to cover as much music as possible. But he is a private pilot as well. If you check his Instagram, you'll see that as well. So yeah, we want to go and spread his wings over here. So share his music, share his Instagram, stuff like that. Let's help bring him over. And with that said, I'm going to go. I hope you're all well. I hope you've enjoyed the show. And yeah, see you next time. Catch you later.